Hello again, this is Rick from e24land.com and 1124 Holdings. Here today to give a video overview of our latest 18.653 acres in Fort Garland, Costilla County, Colorado. In case you haven't seen it, I've made another video about where's Fort Garland or where is Costilla County. It has more information about the general area and the broader geographic context, other cities, etc. I'll put a link to that in the description below. We'll come back to this. This is going to zoom in, but wanted to give an idea. A lot of times when we talk about the area, we have Fort Garland, and we also have the town of San Luis right there. The two main towns that we're going to talk about in the area, they're about 20 minutes apart. Let me zoom out here a little bit. That Fort Garland is up here, San Luis is down here. They're about 20 minutes via Highway 159. 159 runs north-south, and then Highway 160 runs east-west over into Alamosa. So when we talk about distances to different cities, add or subtract 20 minutes depending on where you are. If you're coming from the south, down from Taos or Texas or somewhere else, we'll talk about how far it is from San Luis, and then, or if you're coming from Denver or Pueblo, wherever, you're going to come in through Fort Garland. So just adjust your times based on that, and then really once you're on Highway 159, it could be 10 to up to 45 minutes depending on how deep you are into the mountain area. So if you plan to come and maybe stay for the weekend, right? Alamosa is about 30 minutes due west over here. This is where you're going to find hotels and shopping and restaurants and all sorts of stuff like that. Much more modern conveniences, but just to give an idea of where this particular property is from Fort Garland, about 45 minutes depending on how you travel, or if you're coming from the south up through San Luis, about 38 minutes. So in a broader context, if you were coming from Denver down Highway 25, right, it's about 3 hours to get to Fort Garland. Right here's the area where my hand is. You can almost see this little orange dot. That's the property. 3 hours from Denver, 2 hours from Colorado Springs, hour and a half Pueblo. Then once you come down 25 and you're going to pass through La Veta Pass, it's about 20 minutes from La Veta. Same thing if you're coming from the south up through Taos. Taos is about an hour to get to San Luis, or an hour and 20 to get to Fort Garland, depending on where you're going. Okay, that's just to set some context. Let's zoom in a little bit. In the area for you skiers, right? You know that Taos Ski Valley is down here. Again, it's probably 15 or 20 minutes outside of the Taos area, so depending on where you are. Or over here to the west, you got Wolf Creek. Straight out Highway 159 will get you to, 160 will get you through Alamosa and eventually out to Wolf Creek. So that's about an hour and 15 minutes to get to Wolf Creek or to get to Taos for some beautiful skiing in both of those areas. Pagosa Springs is also over here, beautiful area. We have the zooming into the area, right? The Great Sand Dunes National Park is up here. This is only about 20 minutes, 30 minutes from Fort Garland. That's a great day trip. Over here, running down, that's the Rio Grande River. Right, makes sense. Starting to zoom in. In the area, um, the prominent features are going to be the mountain peaks. Pull some of this stuff off here. And the main mountain peak in the area, this right here, is Mount Blanca Peak. Mount Blanca is there you go, highest peak in the area. The main ones are the ones at above 14,000 feet, the 14ers. So if you want to get out, you'll see how they are prominent. 14,351 feet. That's fourth largest in the Rocky Mountain Range. Interestingly, it's the high. There's nothing higher east of it. You've got some higher peaks to the west of it, but from a geographical perspective, there's nothing higher to the east of it. Up here in the same cluster, you got Mount Lindsay is also a 14er, Little Bear's a 14er, and then up here, a little north of Blanca, is Crestone, and then down here a little bit, down in here is going to be Calubra Peak. Those are your 14ers in the area. Nice. Other peaks and prominent features in the area you're going to have over here is Mount Mestas. Over here you got the east and west Spanish peaks. Bing. Down to the south, this right here is Ute Mountain. This is the New Mexico state line border, right? So just over is going to be Ute. And then you actually see this right here is the Wild Horse Mesa, or also known as the San Pedro Mesa. It's about a 75 square mile area there. I give you some perspective of different things, and as we continue to zoom in a little bit, here's our property. Zoom in a little bit more. Couple of in the area. So here's Fort Garland. Here's San Luis. Right, here's Alamosa out to the west. Right, and then you really got three reservoirs in the area, right? So you got the Mountain Home Reservoir. Over here you got the Smith Reservoir. And then down here near Wild Horse Mesa is the Sanchez Reservoir. They'll range from, I think Sanchez is around 762 acres when at full pull, but it's got some, drought and other issues, but it's used to be filled with northern pike, and Mountain Home right now is Mountain Home Reservoir is a terrific one. So is Smith for kayaking. It's got a nice beach. This right here is just the little town of Mount Blanca. So let me zoom in a little bit, give you an idea of where else we are. You know what? Let me show you this. For you hunters and or outdoor enthusiasts, right? So here's the property. Here's the property. All of this right here is green space. So owned by the county, owned by Costilla County. So this would be for hunting, hiking, ATV riding, all of that sort of stuff. And if you see where the property is, and this is the street, go down to the end of the cul-de-sac, it's just, I don't know, 1,500 feet maybe to get into the green space, or potentially you could just drive over here and park right there and enter into the green space down in this area. So this property doesn't directly abut up against green space, but not too far away. Not too far away. The Southern Colorado, or Costilla County more specifically, has Game Management Unit 83, which has one of the largest elk population herds in the area. I think that they number at around 7,000 elk. All right, let's zoom in a little bit more. Let's zoom in a little bit more on the property. Back to here. So this area right here, this area right here, here's a Sangre de Cristo mountain range, right? So this area in here is the Sangre de Cristo ranches where these properties are all developed. It was developed by Forbes in the 1970s, right? There are about 7,900 lots. Minimum lot size is 5 acres. Some of them go up to 10, 15, 20, 30 acres. 56,000 acres in total. There's about 4,600 acres of green space. This area in general is called the San Luis Valley. San Luis City, but this is the San Luis Valley. This area over here is largely fertile, high plains desert. Elevation in this area flat, about 7,500 feet on the valley floor, and then as you sort of get up into the foothills and then into the peaks, right? So the foothills will range from 8,500 feet up to around 10,000 feet in elevation. There are some properties that are way back here deep that will go 10,500, maybe even up to 11,000 feet in elevation. They're pretty rare, but they do exist. Down in the valley region, you're going to have largely grasslands. Maybe he's going to have some sagebrush, but then as you see that as you start to get into the foothills, you're going to have more of the pinyon pines. Is pretty typical in the 8,000, 9,000 foot. You'll start to get dotted with the pinyon pines. A pinyon pine can grow from on average 10 to 20 feet high. They say that they can grow as high as 30 feet, and then as you get higher up into the mountains, higher elevations, you're going to have the higher pines. You're going to have the ponderosa pines, the taller ponderosa pines. You'll have the spruce and the fir, and as you get into the alpine properties, you'll have those beautiful aspens with the white bark, and they turn a beautiful orange color in the fall. Okay, so let's kind of zoom in. Just taking a look here around the property. Mount Blanca. All right, so this is going to be here is facing north. Right, so this is going to be largely a north-facing lot, which means that it's going to be a little cooler. The snow's going to last a little longer because you'll have the shadow compared to a south-facing lot that gets more sun, right? Which also means that generally they are denser in trees because they don't get, I don't want to say scorched, but it's cooler for the trees, right? This particular property ranges from 10,187 feet, slopes downhill from the road. So these are all well maintained. I shouldn't say well maintained. There are maintained roads in the winter time, depending on how much traffic is up there. Some of these properties at high elevation, you're going to need to have a four-wheel drive. You're going to need to have maybe even chains on your tires in order to get up there, depending on how often. So this particular property, yep, roads leading all the way to it, north facing. You'll see that this one here has a bit of a flat spot the first 100 feet or so, and then it's going to slope down. Again, 10,187 feet down to around 9,930 feet, right? Heavily treed. Some people ask me about, hey, does it look like all of those trees are burnt or dead? Nope, this was taken in the wintertime. This is a satellite picture taken in the wintertime so that leaves have fallen off of some of these trees, right? But if you imagine in the wintertime, I'm sorry, in the summertime, it's going to be heavily, right? It's going to be much denser, all green. Okay, so in this case, um, going down this side of the property, let's take a look. I'm going to start off 10,213, actually a little higher there. But this first bit, you got about 85 feet before it starts to, where it's pretty level, and then it's going to continue on down. That's going to be a heavier slope down here at the bottom. Right, so let's look more in the middle of the property. Here again, this first 75 feet or so is level-ish, and then we start to slope down. This is more at about a 30 or 35 degree slope. And then if we look here at this end of the property, up here at the top, you actually see that it goes up a little bit, 4 or 5 feet from the road, and then this is all pretty flat. Right, so your first 100 feet are flat, and then we start to come down on average 25 degree slope, and then we get down here near the bottom and it flattens off. Alright, so this is probably the better part of it. This would be a nice area over here for a cabin or camping, and then you can get easier down into this area. And I think that once you get down into this area, you could probably even cut a path going across ways here. So interesting. I think that there are some good camping spots. Be easy to get in and out of the property from the road there. All right, let's get rid of that. Take that off there from the property itself. I don't think, here's to the north, there's Mount Blanca. I think that if you were actually down here on the property itself, that view is going to be, you're not going to see Mount Blanca from the property, but you are going to be surrounded by trees and beautiful ridges. Here again, there's this nice spot up here for camping, I think, all along this road. I'm going to think that a lot of this is alpine. A lot of times when we see this, these trees like this, these are aspens that have lost their leaves. This property is about 13.9 miles to get to Highway 159, about 38 minutes, I think is what we saw before. This is Onderdonk Road near Starkweather. Let's give you another, continue to scroll. Going to have a nice view of This valley. All right, so that's about it. Taxes are low. There's no time limit to build. Um, that's about it. Subscribe to my YouTube channel for future videos and more properties. Check out our website, e24land.com, and subscribe to our VIP email list to get early notifications of properties, notifications as we get more. So thanks for watching. More details in the description.